Hello, everybody. This is Jay here. No Uncle Bobby this week. I have made sure to get rid of him. Me and Ref Brandon are bringing you Rasslin and Racing, just like we do every single Monday night. We appreciate you joining us and making us a part of your Monday night. And we are brought to you by Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina, Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. Hyundai of Anderson, use code HOA24 and you can save lots of money. Also, Upstate Physical Therapy, go by see David and Jimmy, they'll take care of you. Pepsi Cola, and all of our other sponsors that you can find at greenvillesportsmedia.com. Well, folks, let's bring him in. He is the man of the hour. He is my best friend. We're talking about Ref Brandon. How's it going, Brandon?
Fantastic, Jay. How are you doing?
Could be better, but you know what? I apologize that you had to deal with Uncle Bobby last week.
It's all right. I made it through.
I'm sure you did. All right, well, Ref, let's get straight to it. Yesterday we had a rain delayed Daytona 500, of course, capped off by the president showing up first thing and doing some laps in the Beast. Of course, they made a big deal about that. And then we had a start to the race that like they said during the rain delay, everybody was just kind of getting things filled out, and they still couldn't get it filled out. And we went deep into the night, and Ref Brandon, we had some major wrecks, took out some major stars, guys that should have won the race. But you know what? That's what Daytona's about. And when it was all said and done, a guy that neither one of us are big fans of, William Byron wins the race. What was your thoughts?
Well, it might have been, time-wise, one of the longest ever Daytona 500s because counting the red flags, the race was about 7 hours and 35 minutes just about. But, they originally had the start time of 2:30 and they moved it up and, they only got to run 10 laps before the first red flag due to rain. And it might have been a good thing that they did move it up, even though they only, got to run 10 laps, because if they would have started at regular time, they never would have started at all, because by the time all the rains and all that happened, it would have been, 6:30, and they more than likely probably would have said, well, we'll just race tomorrow, come back Monday and do it. And it got moved back to Monday last year. So even though they only got to run 10 laps, moving the race up some was probably a great idea, in the long run. Otherwise, we'd have been racing on Monday again. But I thought the race was fantastic. But, at Daytona, it's always a wreck fest. It always has been that way. It always will be that way. And I didn't think it was going to be that way because, the last 45, 50 laps, basically you just had two lines because the third line up top was just not moving at all. Darrell Wallace was up there, Denny Hamlin got up there, and it just was not moving. Yep. And then all of a sudden, with about 19 laps to go, Joey Logano just did something, and I'm not really sure what he was even trying to do, but it took out about 10 cars, and then they got back going again, and then with, I think, 7 to go, they had another huge pile-up. So it looked like it was going to be a tame race there until the very, very end, and William Byron wins it, and I don't know if he ran up front at all in the whole race, but there on that last lap when they had a huge spin out and 8 or 9 cars spun out, he managed to get right through it, and there he was. And Tyler Reddick comes home second. Jimmy Johnson, who I don't think ran the top 10 the whole entire day, ends up coming home third. And then you had the pole sitter Chase Briscoe end up being the highest finishing Joe Gibbs driver in his debut for Joe Gibbs. Then you had John Hunter Nemechek, Alex Bowman, Ryan Blaney, who was involved in that huge pileup with 19 laps to go. It looked like his car was totaled, and he comes back, finishes 7th. And then you had Austin Cindric, Justin Allgaier, and Chris Buescher as your top 10. But I thought it was an incredible race. But, NASCAR continues to show signs of getting better. They announced today that Dodge makes its return next year. They're going to be in the Craftsman Truck Series, and then by 2028, they're going to be back in the Cup Series. I don't think Dodge would return if they thought NASCAR was going under. So I think it just continues to show that NASCAR is on a upward trajectory. And I couldn't be more excited, because if we can keep having races like we had all last year and like yesterday, it's going to be another amazing year. But I wanted to ask you a question about the playoffs, Jay, because last week I had Uncle Bobby, so I didn't ask him, but there's been rumors that NASCAR is going to change the playoff system after this year. There was a rumor that it was going to change before this year, and then about 3 weeks before the season started, NASCAR came out and said, no changes this year. We'll look at it again after the 25 season. And, of course, people only wanted to change because everybody hates Logano when Logano won the championship last year. Had it been Chase Elliott win the championship, they wouldn't care. But it was Joey Logano. But my question is, if they do change it, what do you think they could do? Because to me, you've got to have a playoff, because every other sport has a playoff. You can't just have a 136 race regular season. You've got to have playoffs.
Yep.
But I think they need to do something. This is what I would do if I was changing it. Like, let's look last year at Harrison Burton. You know, Harrison Burton was awful all year long, and he only made the playoffs because he won that one race. And had he won the championship, there'd have been an uproar, because you can't take a guy who does absolutely nothing all year long and put him in the playoffs because he wins one race. To me, they should go back to the way they used to do it and just keep your points through 26 races. Keep up with the points, and then after 26 races, whether you won a race or not, does not matter. The 16 drivers who have accumulated the most points make the playoffs. And then if you don't have a win, you're still in. But if you do have a win, then you get 5 extra points for each win. That way you're getting more of a bonus and more of an incentive to win, but you're not making the playoffs just because you won, because consistency should matter to a point. And somebody like Harrison Burton that wins one race shouldn't get in because he won one race. I think it should be 26 races in the regular season like it is now, and then 10 races in the playoffs. After 26 races, the 16 drivers that have the most points get in, and then you get 5 extra points for every win you have if you have a win. And then that way you're still getting in based on your points, not based on whether you won or not. And then you're getting more points for a win, because right now it's 1 point for each win. I think if you give a driver 5 points, you're giving them even more of a reason to win a race.
Well, my position is this. I don't have a problem with Harrison Burton getting in. I think winning a race should count for something, but I think there should also be other things that should count. I think they need to go back to points for leading the most laps. They got one for the fastest lap, so why not make it, hey, someone out there like let's just say Kyle Busch. He leads 250 laps of a 300 lap race, but yet gets caught up in a wreck at the end. I think he should get points for dominating a race. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that somebody, if you're going to go out there and give an exceptional thing, but then just somehow get caught up in the wrong thing, personally, I think that they should get points for leading the most laps. They're doing fastest lap. I'm not really a huge fan of that. I mean, if you're going to do that, just do the pole, for winning the pole. They used to do that. Depending on where you started, you got points. So, and I think that should come back. But, I don't know. I don't think there's any right way to do it. I mean, I think there needs to be an emphasis on winning a race. I mean, but at the same time, someone that dominates a race but then somehow gets caught up in something at the end that wasn't their fault, they shouldn't be penalized by coming in 33rd when they should have been first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts on it. We'll see what NASCAR does. NASCAR has a mind of their own, that's for sure.
Yeah, see, what happened yesterday is, something else that makes people, mad, because if you recall, NASCAR's always been, very wishy-washy on the rules and when they do them and all of that. But last week in the duels on the last lap, coming to the checkered flag, there was a wreck.
Yep.
And the caution came out immediately, and they ended up giving Austin Cindric the win because even though Eric Jones passed him, Austin Cindric was ahead when the caution came out. And everybody watching NASCAR knows on the last lap caution comes out, it's frozen. We know that. But then the caution came out, even though it was behind the leaders, and NASCAR said it was to avoid, more wrecks. But then yesterday, there was a caution on the last lap and almost the same spot. I mean, there was a wreck on the last lap in the same spot, and there was no caution. What's the difference?
I agree, because I was waiting for the flag to come out and just waited and waited, and Reddick was trying to catch Byram and just couldn't get there. And but it is what it is. Like you said, NASCAR has a wishy-washy way of doing things, so we'll see where it goes from there. But speaking of which, now we take our trip over to pro wrestling. And Ref, what did you do this past weekend? Was you able to go to any of the events?
No, I took the weekend off because my daughter's birthday was Thursday, so we took her out to eat Saturday night, and then we had a men's function at church yesterday, and I'm our men's leader at church, so of course I've got to be there, so I had to take the weekend off.
Okay, not a problem with that. But where can people find you during the week?
On YouTube, just about every single day, Ref Brandon and the Todd family. It's mainly college football and wrestling, but especially right now, there's no college football to talk about. I talk about NBA, college basketball, baseball, NASCAR, but it is mainly a college football and wrestling channel. But there's something for everybody on the channel. And I try to tell a dad joke in just about every single video because I love my dad jokes.
All right, folks, there you heard it. If you love dad jokes, Ref Brandon is your call. Make sure you check him out on Facebook. Well, Ref, we go to AEW this week. We didn't get a chance to talk about them last week because we was trying to catch up with WWE. What's your thoughts on this past weekend's show that happened out in Australia?
Well, I mean, it wasn't the typical AEW, pay-per-view type event.
Yep.
So it wasn't top notch, but I don't think it was terrible. But it wasn't what you normally expect from AEW's, bigger shows. So it was kind of, I guess, 75%, somewhere along in there, 70%, something like that.
Well, I thought one cool thing was when the crowd was singing Adam Copeland's song. Did you see that part?
Yeah.
That you just don't get that. I mean, with the crowd, I think WWE got it one time with Seth Rollins when they went overseas. I can't remember. I think they was in not Ireland, but I think they was in Germany. I can't remember exactly where it was, but to have the crowd just sing that song to him, and he even said after the show that it gave him goosebumps to know the fans, put him with that song and will sing that for him. But I thought the Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay match versus Don Callis family was awesome. I really enjoyed that match. Mariah May and Timeless Tony Storm, of course, wins the title. And honestly, I gave it an A. I didn't give it an A plus. There were some moments that kind of just didn't make sense, but I think overall, I think it was a great wrestling show. If you know what I mean. If you want wrestling, it was a great wrestling show.
Yeah, it just wasn't the typical AEW pay-per-view, but I mean, it was good.
Yep. And then, of course, we've got some things coming out. At Copeland at Revolution will be taking on John Moxley for the AEW World Title. Who do you think's got this match? I'm giving it to Copeland. I think they're going to take it off Moxley because the title being put in a briefcase just makes no sense.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to give it to Copeland or Cope, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, I think he's. Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't talking. You're good.
Uh, and then I think Kenny Omega will be beating Callis's top guy for the international title. Your thoughts on that one?
I actually agree with you on that too.
And I think Osprey and I can't remember the other guy's name that he's been battling so much. Fletcher. I think they're going to have one more battle. I think we're going to see Samoa Joe destroy um, the Chris Jericho family and also the uh, uh, Christian Cage family. I mean, Samoa Joe and Hook, and I forgot the Chinese wrestler that's on their team. They are just destroying everybody they put in the ring.
Which is good because I've always been a big fan of Samoa Joe.
And now we move over to the WWE, which is getting ready for Elimination Chamber. A lot of things that are happening. Your thoughts on the Jacob Fatu and Sokoa interactions that there looks like they're leading to those two fighting at WrestleMania?
And I hope they are because I personally feel like Jacob Fatu is the best wrestler in the whole family. I think he's incredible. He's amazing. I think he's the best wrestler in the whole family. He needs a WrestleMania match, and he needs it to be one-on-one so that he doesn't have to, put up with, being in a tag team match or a six-man tag team match where you're only doing a little bit. A singles match is going to be all him because I think he's the best one in the whole family. And if they're going to keep going with the whole bloodline thing, since Solo's supposed to be the leader of one side of it, it makes sense for it to be Solo and Jacob, and I think it's going to be a great match.
I tend to agree with you on this one. I think it's something that all the fans are wanting, and Triple H seems to be one that gives the fans what they want. Um, and then we look at the Elimination Chamber. What's your thoughts on the? I know we got Seth Rollins taking on Finn Balor tonight. Who do you think wins that one? And then who's your favorite in the Elimination Chamber as it sits?
Well, tonight's match, I really think Seth Rollins will win. I could be wrong, though. That's my prediction. But as far as the chamber, it's really hard to say because it would make sense for any of the guys to win. And I really don't know if there's a true favorite, but I'd be shocked if it's John Cena, and I'd be shocked if it's Logan Paul because I think they're going to take each other out. I still feel like WrestleMania is going to be Logan Paul and John Cena. That's just the way I feel. So that leaves four guys, which is whoever wins the match tonight, and CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I don't think it's Damian Priest, so you can eliminate him. And I think WrestleMania is going to be Seth Rollins and CM Punk and Roman Reigns in triple threat match. If it is, that takes away CM Punk. So it's looking like my favorite right now might be Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes.
Well, I think there's going to be a swerve, and somehow, some way, it's not going to happen. Because I think WrestleMania is going to be Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I hope not. I don't want that to happen, but that's what I think is going to happen. But I just think the way we saw the Rumble go and the way it ended, I think it's going to be Punk and Rollins and Roman Reigns triple threat. So if it is, that eliminates either one of them. And I think Cena's going to wrestle Logan Paul, so that eliminates both of them. So I'm just going by the process of elimination, picking somebody. So my favorite is Drew McIntyre. And for the women's, Alexa Bliss, maybe, since she just came back, because they finally revealed who supposedly ran over Jade Cargill last week. But I think that's too obvious, so I don't think it's going to be Liv and Raquel. So I believe they're going to end up saying that Bianca Belair turned on her and Bianca done it. So I think you're going to see a feud between Bianca and Jade. So I'll go with Alexa Bliss winning the women's chamber.
Oh, okay. Well, if she does, you know where she's going to be fighting. She'll be going to Raw and taking on the champion there, and then which is of course, uh, oh man, I just went blank. Man, this is just not my night. Um, you know who I'm talking about? Golly, the Raw Women's Champion, Mommy.
What do you feel like at WrestleMania? I still feel like it's going to be. I don't know. Part of me says it's going to be Charlotte and Rhea.
No, Charlotte's already accepted taking on Tiffany.
Okay. Okay, I was going to say, because I can see it being either one. So if they do come out and say who she's going to face, and it kind of tells you who Alexa Bliss is going to face if she does win, the chamber.
Yeah, it would be against Rhea Ripley if Bliss wins the chamber match.
Because it would have made sense for me if Charlotte would have went against, either one. So I was kind of up in the air because I could see her going against Rhea, because last time they wrestled, it was a really good match. But I could also see her trying to go against Tiffany to see, how good Tiffany currently is by putting her against, Charlotte. So either way, it made sense.
Yep, and I think Tiffany versus Charlotte is going to be a great match. And you know what? There's no guarantee Charlotte wins this match. I think this could be a way of like passing the torch to Tiffany. We will see. A lot of people think that she will win because she is on borrowed time. She's made it clear she's not wrestling for 3 more years. She's going to probably cut it back. So this could be their way of giving her a way to leave on her terms, and probably lose it back to Tiffany or to someone else. But I think Charlotte, like her dad, wants to pass that torch.
Well, I hope she passes it, hurries up and goes to the house. I never got to see her again. But now that her and Andrade have divorced, she'll stick around for a while. She'll find somebody else to get married to.
Oh, she divorced Andrade?
Yeah, so she'll be around for a while now, because she ain't gonna retire as no single woman. Yeah, they got divorced a couple months ago.
Oh well, I guess I got a chance then.
Oh yeah, you got a chance.
I ain't gonna tell Uncle Bobby. Uncle Bobby really loves Charlotte, so that'd be a world of hurt. I can see it now. Charlotte Flair and Uncle Bobby. Golly, that'd be a marriage and storyline. All right, Ruff. Well, we had a good little show here. Got to go over some things and talk about some stuff. We want to thank, of course, our sponsors, Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina, and Ardensburg Grill in Central South Carolina. Go by and see both Bobby and Angie Richards. They run both of them, and they will take care of you. The best food you ever have. I actually show up and show out over at Beef and Rib. You can see our videos on Greenville Sports Media's Facebook group. Also, we want to thank GreenvilleSportsMedia.com, the home of Rasslin and Racin, and also of the podcast, The Fun Fans, the Southern Fried Sports Show, Ref Brandon and the Todd family. You name it, we have it at GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. We thank all of our guys that do those shows. Also, we want to thank Upstate Physical Therapy, Pepsi Cola, just so many sponsors. Go to our sponsor page. We just thank you for supporting our shows. And Ref Brandon, tell them one more time where they can find you each and every week and where you might be this coming weekend.
Well, you can find me just about every single day and every single week on YouTube at Ref Brandon and the Todd family. I post just about every single day unless I'm covering high school sports for the radio station and I get home too late. But I try to post just about every day. And this Saturday, I've got an afternoon show. It's going to be a live TV taping for Channel 16, which is out of Greenville, I believe. And it's at I think it's called the Edgewood Community Center in 96, South Carolina. But the actual physical address is 200 Edgewood Circle, 96, South Carolina, 296666. And the show will start at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon at 200 Edgewood Circle in 96, South Carolina. And it is free admission. So come by and catch a live TV taping and get in for free. And since the show starts at 1 o'clock, you'll be out of there by 3:30, and you still have the rest of your Saturday to do whatever you want to do.
There you go, guys. Take your wife to the Rasslin show, then you can take her out to dinner right afterwards, and be home before 9 o'clock. Can't beat that. You cannot beat that. And it's a free show. Go out, support independent pro wrestling. It is a big part of pro wrestling as a whole. A lot of stars that you will see at these shows will soon be in the big time. Lots of them have grown from John Cena to just Seth Rollins. All these stars that you see in these local promotions will make their way up to the big guys eventually. So go out and support them. Support the referees. Ref Brandon needs your support because, you know, he can't see nothing when these guys cheat. You got to help him out. Point to where the guy cheats. That way Ref Brandon has no excuse for why he didn't see it. Make sure you go out. Support. Be in 96 this coming Saturday. Be in Easton Alley, Georgia, when they have theirs. Southern Fried Wrestling. Am I correct on that? Southern Fried Wrestling?
Southern Fried Championship Wrestling.
Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. So go out, support these local pro wrestling shows. They really need your support. And you get a great price for what you're getting to see. You're getting to see 2 to 3 hours of pro wrestling and enjoying it, and clean family fun. These guys, you know, they go out there, they do it for you. So go out and support them. Also, go out to your local racing tracks. Anderson Motor Speedway. We used to be Greenville Speedway. That not there anymore. Travelers Rest has a speedway. Cherokee has a speedway. Livonia. Go out and support your local tracks. Also, NASCAR will be in Atlanta this weekend. I was hoping to try to get down there, but won't not be able to. But go out, watch some NASCAR racing. If not, watch it from home. Let's give them the ratings to show them that, you know what, they need to be on regular TV and not on an app. I think I've said everything I want to say. Ref, you want to say anything real quick?
No, I ain't got anything left.
All right. Well, we appreciate you watching the pro wrestling and NASCAR show called Rasslin and Racin here every single Monday night. And we thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.